Today we're painting Apostles of Contagion. Now the simplest thing to do would be to get a box of Plague Marines, which I do happen to have, but they suffer a lot from the scale creep, and besides, I'm not a fan of the overly mutated style. So instead, we're going to take a few bits from the kit and combine them with a clean, printed Mark III. Conversion work was rather simple on this one, mostly removing details like the Death Guard symbol and making space for a decal on the pauldron, just making our little guy a bit cleaner. Build was finished with attaching pointing hand to the arm, and I've ended up with a pretty cool sergeant-type guy.
Kill them for the Lord of the Flies!
As usual, painting process started with priming gray, and once that dried, I went over with few coats of this brownish ochre. Color is not exactly spot on, but that's the closest I had. Next, we'll begin picking out details with black, and there's a lot to pick out. My silver doesn't look great over bright colors, so I'll have to base coat everything that will end up silver with black first. It's a little tedious, but it'll be worth it in the end. All right, looking a little bit like Pyre, but let's move on with the rest of the colors. For shading, we're going to start off with quick washes for few details and metals, and later we'll switch to manual shading on the main color. In my previous videos, I used to thin paint only with water for this purpose, but now I've mixed in some glazed medium, and it goes down so much nicer and doesn't split. Square up, squad, it's time for highlights. Gray was used for few spots that were left in black. Cloth and teeth were re-established with Griffon claw. And for wooden grip, I've done something unheard of. I've listened to feedback. Crazy, I know. This fine viewer suggested using gray and green to make it look more aged. So after hitting it with my 2 coats of stipply highlights, I've mixed in some bright gray and did a 3rd coat. So far, so good. I don't have any green washes on hand, so instead I'll just thin down some green and apply it sparingly in random spots. This color does look kind of minty, so I suggest using something more foresty or warmer. But still, I really like how it turned out in the end. That's a lot of rivets. To paint his eyes, I begin with a thin coat of glossy wash as a sort of a primer for contrast paints. I'm going for sickly orangish red color, so I've made a mix of red with few drops of orange. It didn't look right after the first coat dried, so I did 2 more. And after sealing the deal with another pass of Nuln oil, we're finished with painting. All that's left is to apply the decal, and with that, I'm calling it done.